Hi, everyone, and welcome back. So for this particular unit, what we're going to be looking at is we're going to be looking at um, these concepts, the anti-Black racism, the 13th Amendment, and the color line and Jim Crow. And it's really important for us to then delve into these particular concepts as well when we're talking about the African American and Black experience here in the United States. These are some definitions that we're going to delve into. Anti-Black racism, and we're going to define that as a two-part formation that strips a Blackness and value. It dehumanizes and systematically marginalizes Black people, right? So there's a marginalization that happens against Black people, right? And this isn't just about, this era of slavery, but rather even post-emancipation, post-slavery, right? This form of anti-Blackness is overt racism. Society also associates political incorrect comments with the overt nature of anti-Black racism. And anti-Blackness is this covert structure, right? And systemic racism that predetermines the socioeconomic status of Blacks in this country, and is held in place by anti-Black policies, institutions, and ideologies. So we really have to look at anti-Blackness, and it's like covert, right? It's not like overt, which is like kind of like out there, right? There's a lot of coded language that is used. So thinking about how these coded language is really, you know, really sort of framing, folks that are and criminalizing, right, and Black folks in particular, it frames them as less than or like not in line with the quote unquote cultural values of our society, and that does not sort of take into account sort of the systemic issues that are really happening, right? So there's a lot of that is instilled in our society today. Anti-Blackness is also disregarded, is the disregard for and for anti-Black institutions and policies. This disregard is a product of class, race, and gender privilege specific individuals experience due to anti-Black institutions and policies, right? And you can kind of look at these policies and institutions like the law, right? And I think part of it is, education as well. And so when we look at these things where we're trying to like decolonize and sort of be cognizant of anti-Blackness is a sense of our understanding of what it really truly means to be, say, part of the othered group or the marginalized group through this contextualization. And one of the prime examples that we're going to see is with the 13th Amendment, okay? And this is was written into the Constitution to abolish slavery, and it was a formal abolishment of slavery, yet there was a loophole, right, that criminalized, right, the Black person, right? And and so what I want us to do is there's a video that I want to show in our module that will allow us to understand what the 13th Amendment really means. And even though it's looks on the surface like it's really good to end slavery, there are sort of there's verbiage in there that actually makes it very hard for the now freed slave group, the Blacks, to really navigate these spaces because they become criminalized, right? And so this is that direct quote that I'm referring to, right? Neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for the crime of which the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Okay, so this is where you're looking at, you can be convicted though, right? Even though slavery is not allowed, you can still be punished for a crime. Well, if you criminalize someone that is, that is freed, therefore they are able to sort of, navigate these spaces of the United States, very by being sort of incarcerated, right? Incarcerating them. And so what we have is this notion of how enslavement then can be enacted so long as one is convicted of a crime, right? And so right, it sort of draws this line of, yes, you cannot have slaves, but by criminalizing, right, the former slave, you can therefore in essence, recreate enslavement within society. Okay, so that's the 13th Amendment. And then we have the color line, which is Du Bois and his seminal piece that sort of highlights this, that we're also going to read through, and also some of the, sorry about my dogs. that can also highlight the Jim Crow laws as well. So these are the black codes that were instilled that dictated when, where, and how much an African American make was a legal form of slavery, right? And so when we're looking at these notions of 13th Amendment, the color line, and Jim Crow laws, it really sort of adds another layer of complexity to the settler colonial project of the United States.